Okay, here we go again. Non-stop streaming of constant fursuit stuff. I only dropped my lights a few times when I was setting up today. Usually I like trip over them and stuff. I only dropped it like once or twice. I'm expecting my cameras and my lights to break. I swear. I trip over them. I accidentally step on them sometimes. Okay, so we are waiting for people to show up, but I am gonna get started explaining. Della! Della, I can always trust you to be here, Della. I have never done an art fight before. I don't really know what it's like. What do you do? Thank you for always being here, Della. You're so sweet. It's amazing. Alright, well then, sign me up. Okay, so we've got paw. This is the inside piece of the paw. And let's look at the outside. Okay, so we've got the 5 fingers and the claws sewn on there. Here's the inside of that. And I wasn't quite satisfied not showing you guys how to do the claws and the paw pads. I kind of just explained it and I didn't really show how. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit more about it. So this is the ultimate goal here, is to get these paw pads sewn on here. So let's do the paw pads first and then we'll do the claws after. Basically, the website is split into 2 teams, which is based on a theme. The series theme got released today, Bloom versus Wither. The goal is to get as many points for your team as possible, and you get points by drawing the OCs and players in the opposite team. What? That's so cool! I always just thought it was just people drawing stuff, and that's what it was. I had no idea there was actually, like, a theme or anything. Like, that's an actual art fight. That's so cool! I might have to do that, actually. Is it all just drawings, probably? It's a whole website? I had no idea. I always see people posting, like, oh, this is for art fight. I had no idea it was so involved. It's anything really interesting. Makes a Bloom or a Wither version of a fursuit. Okay, so we need to get this paw pad sewn on. So I'm going to show you guys how to sew the paw pad and this center paw pad, because this one's a little bit harder. Let's start with this one. It's easier. So you should have one side that's nice and smooth, and one side that has the slit in it. Obviously put the slit side facing the backing here, so that the nice side with the fur doesn't have the slit. Some people do traditional art, digital art. I've seen a couple dolls, some cross-stitch. Wow! Oh my gosh, that's so cool! Wow, I really can do anything. What is, like, the time limit on that? I wish I could join with, like, fursuit paws or something. Or maybe I could make, like, a fursuit tail? Oh! That's cool. You can kind of just do whatever. That's kind of nice. July 1st and goes through the whole month. I will have to think about it. That sounds kind of fun. Have you done it before? You sound like you know what's going on. Okay, so figure out which way the fur is going. Find the direct top center. And I stick your needle through there. And we're going to put it straight down. So you're going to find the very top center of this. I need to get my camera closer. It's too far away. You've done it since 2019. Dang. You're a professional art fighter. That sounds so fun. I will do it if I have time. I'm worried that with my commissions I might not have time, but it's really, really tempting. That sounds so fun. I want to make a fursuit tail. Or handpaws or something. That would be fun. Are you supposed to wait until it's time to start, or can you just start now? Okay. So this is the wrong side, the side with the slit. And this is the very top center right here that the fur is going on. This is the right side here. The fur is going up, so at the very top center, stick your needle through this way. This is the side with the slit. And I already did that, so you can see it's here like this. And then choose a paw pad Or a finger. Starting before July 1st is considered breaking the rules and goes against the spirit of art fight. That makes sense. I guess it is kind of cool that everyone's making all this art at the same time. I guess if you start early, it's not really the same kind of thing. That's really cool. Now I understand. You think I would have known what art fight was. Okay, so here's your finger, and you want to find the top center here. So usually I'll just kind of line this up. And so stick your needle going down and up right in the center top there. Okay, and then when you pull it, art fight sounds fun. I want to try that. You said it's a website? Maybe I can look at the website so I can kind of get more info on it. Okay, so once you have it, I need to turn the light up, I think. It's a little bit dark. Okay. So once you have it pinched between your fingers, go around a few more times. It's not focusing, is it? Ugh. Oh, you camera. It just wants to look at my fingers. Okay, so once you go around like maybe 3 times or something, you're gonna knot it. So stick your needle through the hole. Usually I do it twice, and then just pull it quick. Artfight.net. Oh, yeah, I definitely would have tried artfight.com. It's probably some other website. Well, thank you. I will look at that. Actually, I better write it down or I'll forget. Artfight.net. Cool. Well, thank you. I'm learning. Hey, Renn, how you doing? We've got Red Paws. I love how Renn always brings in all the puppers. So many. Alrighty. So now that we got the top one sewn on, we're going to do the bottom center. So find the same exact spot, the bottom center of this, stitch through, and the bottom center of the finger, which you should be able to line it up given the direction of the finger. You can tell that the bottom center should be like right here. Tired! Oh no! I'm fine, but my wrists are hurting. I'm pretty sure I'm early stage carpal tunnel. I'm sorry you're tired. Are you gonna get to take a nap? Or go to bed soon? Like, being tired is like the most miserable feeling. Alright, I'm gonna rotate this around because I have trouble sewing it backwards like that. So same as before. Just gonna kind of get it between your fingers here and pinch it. And just stitch it around a few times. I mean, technically you could use clips for this, but I just prefer to do it this way. I just like to do a few knots to hold everything in place. I always wake up so late lately. Like, I keep waking up really late, but the problem is I can't fall asleep. So I just kind of keep working until I get really tired, and then I know I can sleep. It's so dumb. Okay, so we've got the top and the bottom, and at this point I like to make sure that the fur is facing the right way in the front, which it is. So now we're going to do the 2 sides. Alright, I just made a knot here at the end, cut off that little extra bit. Repetitive motion, give you carpal tunnel. You know, I knew it was probably that. I thought I remembered you saying you had carpal tunnel too, and boy, I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it would suck that bad. I'm so sorry. Yeah, like, I never would have thought... I mean, I looked it up, and it's like, yeah, sewing is one of the main jobs, but honestly, like, dog grooming too, like, totally, now that I think about it, would be a prime suspect for causing that. You're tired due to stress. Oh no. Jury duty. Oh no. That's a double yikes. Sleep has been rude to you lately. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I wish you could get like 10 days off and just kind of sleep it off. I have never had jury duty. Was it as annoying as everybody? Well, you just said you were very stressed, so it must be not great. I'm so sorry. They say dentists get it bad too. Interesting. That checks out. Yeah, because they also... Yeah! Oh, man. Poor everybody. I know my brother has had it for years, and he's a musician, so... Alright, we've got the third side here. We got a stitch on the top, the bottom, and the right side. So we'll stitch this left side, and then we have enough stitches in place to hold it together so we can just hand sew all the way around. Man, I wonder what other jobs cause carpal tunnel, because I never would have thought. I mean, it makes sense. Dentists, too. Honestly, any form of artist, too. Just doesn't matter if you're sewing or digital art or anything. Probably them, too. I bet people who are typing all day... Oof. Okay, but it could be worse. I could also have, like, back problems and stuff, too. So I will count my blessings. But yeah, Ren, I'm sorry you're stressed out. I wish you could get, like, a nice nap and just get to nap for 3 to 10 days. At least you can have fun at Anthrocon soon. I hope you're looking forward to that. I'm thinking about it every day. I'm so excited. Alright, so I stuck it. I realized I blocked it with my hand. But, I stuck it through this way. And I'm gonna stick it right through in the middle here again. It's not easy to line these up. So just do your best and go slow. That's totally my main recommendation. Go slow. And if you need to rip out some seams and try again, that's okay. Because sometimes you'll realize that you slid it like one way too far, the other way too far. And you might just have to redo a few stitches, and that's fine. Sometimes I wake up and I can't feel my entire arms from the shoulders down. It's tingly like when your foot falls asleep. Dear Lord, that's awful. You must have it really bad. Poor Ren, I'm so sorry. I wish I could help you. I wish there was something I could do. Ugh, that sucks. Okay, we've got these 4 corners stitched in. So now before we sew all the way around, I'm just gonna kind of shimmy these into place and make sure... Why is this so dark? I keep turning up the light and the camera's like, what do I do with this? I just kind of shimmy these into place and make sure that it's actually fitting, that there's not like too much fabric here and I need to slide it down or something. But it looks like I did good. They're fitting in there fine. I'll check this side. Good. So if it lays all flat, then you're all set, and you can just keep stitching on from here. I just go all the way around the circle. Oof, my needle got stuck. Bro, I'm dying from excitement for Anthrocon. Oh, glump you. I've never heard of that. I assume that means you take your fursuit head and go whomp with your mouth. I've never heard of that, though. That's pretty funny. Oh, I got my needle stuck. Hang on. Okay, you do want squeakers in the Handpaws, right? I would be shocked if you said no, because you wanted one in the tail and the nose, but I figured I'd ask. I'm so excited. We can high five, and I will squeaky your tail, and we'll take so many pictures. And there's so many cool panels, and this... Honestly, my favorite part is just, like, taking pictures. I just like taking pictures in Fursuit. I just think it's fun. It's like a running hug with gusto. I would have guessed that it was just using your Fursuit mouth to bite you on somebody. Glomp. That's cute. That's cute. That's fine with me. I've almost bowled people over with running hugs before, so... Given it wasn't in Fursuit, but if it wasn't in Fursuit, at least if you fell down, it would be very cozy. It'd be very squishy. I'd rather fall down wearing a fursuit than not wearing a fursuit, I'll say. I can't believe I've never heard of that before. Makes you wonder what other kinds of slang that exists that I've never heard of. But, I won't go on the Urban Dictionary, sorry. That I won't do. Yeah, so this part's just fine. Just stitching all the way around. In fact, I probably shouldn't be finishing this part right now, because it's just very straightforward. You're just going all the way around. But I'm at the end of the thread here, so I'll double knot this. Alright, so we did stitch a pretty good amount. We got through over here. You can see I haven't gotten to this part yet. But that's okay. I will do that off camera because it's something that takes 18 years. Took me 2.5 hours just to stitch in all the paw pads on this one. Whew! I mean, you could. I mean, I've got an extra spot. Oh no, Della, I'm so sorry. You're just so pitiful. I mean, you could. Theoretically, if you wanted to. Gaia online term. Oh my gosh, that is a term I haven't heard in ages. Wow. I've never played it, but I know about it. That's so funny. That's, whew. Okay, so let's just pretend I did this one all the way around. You know the deal. So let me show you how to do this center paw pad one. Basically the same thing. Make sure that the side with the slit is facing this direction so that the nice side is on the nice side, you know? Because I've done this before where I sewed the entire thing in and machine sewed it and then realized that the slit was on the front side and I had to completely unstitch the whole thing. Took hours. It takes even more time to unstitch something than it takes to stitch it initially. I hated that. It was awful. You could go to, oh, never mind. I was gonna say Motor City Furry Con, but I think that one's 18 up. But we could go to YumaCon. YumaCon. I don't remember when that one is, but I know it's all ages. I mean, it's not specifically a furry con, but it could be still fun. Gaia, eons ago, Gaia was popular. Honestly, it was a long, whew, just like Neopets. I miss Neopets. Okay, so I'm finding, if this is a little bit skewed for you guys, I don't have the camera directly straight, but find that top center of this and skewer it through. This is the side with the slit. And find the top center of this and go under and up like that. Pull it together. And I'm gonna pinch it just like I did with the other one. Dan, I was just talking about you. I was just explaining to everybody how you like to wear, quad suits with me. Isn't YumaCon around Halloween? Oh yeah, I think it is. Also. Okay, let's do that. Every time I see a squid dab, I gotta do the squid dab. You are evil. Yeah, I know. I just wish you were a furry with me. Alright, so pinch this. I'm just gonna stitch around a few times and cut it out just like the other time. Just gotta hold it in place. Dan, when I'm done today and my wrists are broken, I want to watch you play GoldenEye 007, please. We gotta beat that second level. I can't believe we got stuck on the second level. It's so embarrassing. But other people got the manual. We never had the manual, so at the same time, I don't even know how to use the controls in that game. That's really funny, Della. I don't know how to spring that on my parents. Like, hey, wanna let me go to Pennsylvania for 4 days? I love that. You could try. Regrettably, Dan can't go. I'm so sad. He's my forced handler. But, like, you just press buttons easy. Hello. Hell yeah, let me watch you struggle. Forced handler. Honestly, though. He carries all my junk, and I can't tell you how many times he's saved me from tripping on a ledge. Like, if there is uneven ground, he's like, watch out for that, or if I'm gonna step on a child, he's like, don't step on this child, etc. Yeah, he carries all my water and stuff, and he'll take the cap off the water and give it to me, and I can go like this with my fursuit paws. I drink it in my mouth. That was a really weird sentence out of context. But yeah, he like totally takes care of me, and he doesn't like to, but I make him go, and then I buy him stuff, so I pay him out. So at least he's gonna get some kind of reward for being forced to go to a furry con with me. I bullied Nathan into being a forced handler. Into being your forced handler. It's amazing. You wish you had a handler too. You bought a fanny pack. You know what? That's fine. Since you don't have the full suit, you're fine. You're actually fine. It's not ideal because you still can't see that well, but you're much, much, much better if you don't have the bodysuit on. So I think you'll be good, but the fanny pack will help. Nathan would carry the end of Winchester's gigantic tail so it wouldn't get dirty or wet. Oh. We're just forcing our men to help us out. Do you have to pay him out too, or does he just do it because, you know, it's part of the dating contract? Must carry my giant fursuit tail. One does not simply choose to be a furry handler. It is forced upon them. Our men! Yeah, Fel has had to help me many times too, so there's that. Oh! A problem bear. Thank you so much for following, I appreciate that. We're having such a dumb conversation right now too. Alright. I realized I started doing this without explaining. This is the same thing as this bottom piece. For each side, we're gonna do the top and the bottom. So I started with the bottom, and I kind of just working my way out stitches-wise. But now we're gonna do the sides, and then we're gonna do like this upper indent area, and then we can stitch all the way around with no problems. We'll have to spot each other since we're handlerless this time. I thought you had someone going with you, though. I mean, I'm totally fine spotting each other. I mean, that's great. That's what he signed up for when he decided to date a furry. True. My brother got what he asked for by being my brother. Just by existing, he has to help me carry my fursuit pieces. Did you ever think about getting like one of those it's like a clear vinyl that you can attach to, you wear it like a belt, and it like hangs down behind you, and you rest your tail on it so it drags on the vinyl so it doesn't wreck your tail, your fursuit tail. It's like I want to say a tail cover, but it goes under the tail to cushion it from the cement and stuff. Clover, we need to have a spot for each other. Oh yeah, sorry, I read that already. Are you being for real about letting me go with you? I think so. I'm fine with it. I'm completely down if you want to go. Trying to think if there's any stipulations. I don't think so. My mom might go, maybe? Just because I was gonna go alone, but if you go with me, she might not go. If you don't mind that, I'm completely down. You can totally go. My niece also has a fursuit head, so we can be a blind trio! Oh, I see. So we're all blind. That's great. I can't wait to do the fursuit. We should go into the fursuit parade together. Let's do it. he can try. Maybe we should invite Cyrus too. We can make a party out of it. Okay, so right now I'm just trying to line up this side with the black here. And this part's really hard because just trying to get it perfect. So this part, I'm actually going to use clips a little bit. Just trying to get it in place. Yes! We can all go together. So we're all blind, that's great. Oh my gosh, is anybody saving these? Because I keep forgetting to write them down. Like, we need to have some excellent quotes. Oh no! Sad. I wish Cyrus could go. Their parents are conservative? Okay, I'm gonna clip this right here. Alright, this is good. This is very good. I've got this whole side in place. So now I'm just gonna do some knots within a few places here to hold it in place. And then I will hand stitch it. Do you think I should still ask them? Because, I don't want to make them feel sad if there's, like, no hope of them being able to go. But at the same time, I don't want them to feel sad if I chose to not invite them. I don't know them well enough. Oh, did I just? Okay. So for a second there, I thought when I was trying to stitch this that I accidentally put it through one of these holes. That would have sucked. I would have had to cut the thread and try again. Alright, I will ask. Troublemaker squad! Dan is just sad that he can't go. Isn't that right? He's just sad that he can't go to the furry con with us furries. Alright. So yeah, just stitching this up. The goal is to stitch it, hand stitch it all the way around, and then machine stitch it at least twice all the way around. And 3 times if you didn't get it good. If you didn't stitch it really well, one of those times that you've already stitched it. So, once we have this all stitched up, we're going to... Well, should I finish this here? Well, I'll finish. I'll do a little bit more. I'll just do a little bit more stitches on this. So the way I like to do this is different depending on, I mean, other makers do it differently. If you didn't completely sew this whole paw pad together like I did, if you left like a gap, you could stick the squeaker in there, but I decided just to make a slit in the back instead. Honestly, either way will get you where you need to be, but this is just the way that I've been using lately, and it works for me. I think it's just a little bit harder to get the stitching properly if it's already stuffed, because basically you'd have a hole in this red thing at the end. You'd stuff all the stuffing and the squeaker in there. Then you'd have to sew this hole closed and stitch it onto the black. And when it's puffy like that, it is so hard to get a needle through and get the exact right lines. That's kind of why I like to sew the entire thing on and then use the slit to stuff it after, because being perfectionist, if I can't get it perfectly sturdy on there... Oh, and the worst part is if you do it that way, you can't even use the sewing machine on it. You can barely get your hand needle through it, let alone the machine needle. So that's another reason why you might want to sew it on, like I'm doing, before stuffing it. Okay, so I'm not going to bother finishing the entirety of this because I've already done it, and I just wanted to show you guys the main difficulties with this section here. But I'm already almost done with this half of the center paw pad, so I'm gonna finish up to the center middle here, and then I will show you quickly how I like to machine sew to fix these things. If you thought that machine sewing this part would be hard, it is. But if you go slow, it's very doable. You just gotta go slow. My thread is too short right now. I'm just trying to knot it. Okay. Cool. So I finished most of this side. I didn't finish up here. I've got a clip in it. Yeah. So once we've got this all sewn in, like this one is, that's when you're gonna machine sew. So, I'm not gonna do it because I already did it on this hand paw, but I just kind of wanted to explain how. Because it takes a hot minute, you gotta go slow. There's two ways you could do it. You could go on this side and keep turning it under the machine and pushing this black underneath as you're sewing. Or the other way is to have it face down like this and pull the black back and stitch along the edge and keep pulling the black away from you as you keep rotating it. And for hand paws, like depending on what it is and depending on the angle, you might want to do one way or the other. But for this, I highly suggest putting it this way. So put the soft piece up and just pull the fingers back so you can stitch along the edges. That's what I would do. And it's the same for the center paw pad. It's a little bit more difficult because it's kind of weaves a bit. That's why you just gotta go slow. Just keep it pressed down. Just do like 4 or 5 stitches, adjust it, 4 or 5 stitches, adjust it, and you'll be fine. So go around at least 2 or 3 times, and don't forget to like back stitch a few times along the way, just in case your thread snaps or something. Because again, this is the part I have fixed most on people's fursuits, is that center paw pad ripping out because people didn't make this durable enough. Sorry, my little rant. Okay, so now we've got this one. We've got one that's kind of on the way. It'll finish later. Now let's talk about the claws. So let me dig out the other side here. You bought so many snacks for the 8-hour drive to Anthrocon. Oh god, it's so far. I brought way too many snacks last time, but I'm really glad that I got extra instead of not enough. So what I did last time, I went to Costco and got a ton of Capri Sun and like separate little packs of just snackies, and I was very pleased. I'm glad you have snacks too, because you need them. Also a case of water. Bring a case of water for sure. Okay, so these claws, this is the hand paw that has them all sewn on. Okay, so here's the goal. You need to get the claws in here. Like, well, I better use the other hand to explain. I did all the claws except one, so I could do one with you guys. So here's where we left these at. It's sewn a little bit on the very edge here, and that's how you know exactly where to place your nail. You're gonna put it as close to the bottom here as possible. But there's a hole here, and so what we're gonna do, oh, I didn't make the claw. You're gonna stick the claw in there, and then you're just gonna pinch this all closed around it, and you're gonna stitch over it like 1,000 times. And that will close up the top here. It'll look like this, one long stitch, and that will have your nail sturdy in there. And if you don't push your nail in far enough, if it's like too close to the edge here, then if you pull this fur back, you'll be able to see that it's not strong enough here, right where the claw's edge is. So we will do that now, and we'll double check together and make sure it looks good. Oh yeah, and I actually don't know how to do hand paws without lining, so it's coming with lining. Here's the lining, which I guess I should also explain too, but yeah, I'll explain how I did the lining in a minute, but yeah, lining. Because there's gotta be like I mean, you put some stuffing in the paws to keep them puffy, like at the very top of the fingers. So without having a lining in there, your fingers are just touching that stuffing, and it's just really, ugh. Like you're getting that stuffing sweaty, and it's just gross to me. I don't know, it needs a lining. Yeah. Okay, so I did all the claws except this one, so I could show you guys. So, Did I even make this dark enough to be seen? Basically, I've got this minky. That's what I'm using. The fur is going up this way, so know which way the direction of the fur is going. And your claw should have an arrow the direction of the fur. If it doesn't, draw one yourself. And I just traced it on here. You can kind of see the white line. It's a little bit faded. The way I like to do claws is, instead of like cutting them all out and then trying to sew them together, like if I cut this out right now and cut out another one, it would take a lot of time, and also it would kind of, sewing the edges of minky gets stuck in your sewing machine, so I prefer to just leave a little bit more extra space around the nail to work with, and I just kind of fold it in half. Just make sure that it's straight, like the fur is straight on both sides, and I will stitch along the line of the nail and leave the bottom part open here, and then I will check, make sure it looks good, and I'll stitch it a few more times if it does look good. I've seen some on Instagram that were not lined. They looked odd. Interesting. I don't know how would you do that? How would you make a hand paw that's not lined? Okay, actually, if you made like a 5-fingered one that was kind of skin tight, maybe, like, I don't think I showed anybody Ace, but Ace has, Ace is a griffin. He's got like the griffin. They're basically just gloves. They don't have any stuffing in there. But if you have like puffy paws like these, you're gonna need stuffing and you need lining, in my opinion. Glue! Right? How do you do it? Glue. Anytime anyone asks me how do I do something, I'm just gonna say glue. Okie dokie. Still got some red thread in here from sewing the liner earlier. I need to do like a whole sewing machine thing, but really every sewing machine is different, so it makes it hard to explain. You just kind of thread the thread through in whatever weird way your sewing machine wants you to do it. And you put the bobbin in the hole the way your sewing machine requires you to do it. They're all different. And mine has like a threader here. The camera's too far away. Mine has a threader where I can just kind of line it up and push the button, and it threads it for me. Of course, I've accidentally knocked the threader out of position trying to sew stuff like hand paws that were already stuffed. Things that I probably shouldn't be putting through a sewing machine. So be careful to not damage your sewing machine. Feet paws lined too? Yes and no. I build, unless they're sock paws, I build the feet paws off of Crocs or my cat's paw. Where did I put, I put them somewhere. Oh, here they are. Okay. Okay, so here's the Crocs. So as long as you're wearing socks, I usually wear like athletic socks or any socks really, but athletic socks were good. This part, I can't line the inside, but the part that goes up, like there's foam and stuff and stuffing around, that whole tube area will be lined. So, although the inside of the Croc isn't lined, I don't think you would want it lined, but the rest of it, like the sides are. And we'll be doing that on stream tomorrow or the day after, depending on how long it takes me to finish these hand paws. We're probably going to have to finish the hand paws tomorrow. Or your cat's paw. I don't get it. I'm sorry. But I like cat paws, so. Okay. So I'm just gonna make sure this is nice and straight. And you guys can't see it because it's dark. That's good. Put Jasper's paw in the sewing machine. Alright, so the black and white cat that sometimes you guys have been able to see, his name's Jasper, and let me tell ya, he is a scamp. He is a rascal. And one day, like, okay, if I don't stop him, he will run on my desk, find anything made out of minky, take it in his mouth, and run away. He tried to take these Renn's hand paws, and I was like, oh, nope, you're leaving. But yeah, he'll take things and just leave and hide them. I'll find them under cabinets and stuff later. The real thing, the real worst problem he's ever caused, though, he decided to watch me sewing one day, and I was like, alright, that's fine. So he was just sitting next to the sewing machine here, just like a pill, you know, like how cats sit like a slug. He was watching me sew, and he looked sleepy too. He was just chilling. And suddenly, out of nowhere, he went, ugh! He stuck his paw under the needle and sewed it through his finger. And it was awful. And I called my sister, who's a nurse, and I'm like, so everything's kind of fine, but something just happened. Your cat kind of sewed himself. And she's like, what? So she came home and she took care of it because she's a nurse. She knew what to do, but like, even the cats that don't look like they're gonna jump under the needles, now I'm terrified. I can't let the cats get anywhere near me because I'm terrified. Like, he looked like he was just watching contently. I didn't think he would jump up and do that. And he's a very smart cat. He's the smartest cat I've ever seen. He's like, I mean, I looked it up. Apparently tuxedo cats can be pretty smart. He's a smart boy. So I don't know why he was that dumb. I didn't draw the line on this dark enough, and it's kind of hard to see where the line is. I might have to retrace it. He must stay out of the room, right? Sometimes I have the door open just because it's so hot in here, but like, if he's awake and he decides to come in here and start getting rambunctious, I have to kick him out. Most of the time, I just don't let him in here in the first place, but once in a while, I'm like, I need some kitty. I just need a cat sitting watching me. But never again. Never again will I let him sit that close. Too curious for his own good. I know. Okay, so despite not being able to see the line that well, I actually have sewn it on perfectly. So it's dark over here. Let me bring the light. There we go. So I've just stitched the whole pattern except the top part, and I'm gonna look at both sides and make sure that it looks good, that I didn't accidentally stitch off the edge of the fabric somehow, or that I didn't skip any stitches, like the stitch didn't like come out and come loose. But it looks good. It looks like there was no issues here. So I'm gonna stitch it twice again. I'm not gonna bother with the zigzag stitch on the end. Just gonna go with the straight stitch. That's just what I do with the nails. I don't know why. I just think the zigzag is kind of bulky. So yeah, give me just a second to restitch these. And this is just a complete durability pass. I like to have 3 stitches thick of quality stitching. So if your first pass around was not good at all, or if you missed a stitch or something, do another pass. I always want 3 stitches worth of durability. Fun fact, tuxedo cats are no different than the normal domestic short-hair cats. They are just marketed as a different type of cat. Really? Wow! Well, he is so cute anyways. He is very smart. I've never seen a cat so smart. I mean, every cat that I've ever had, and I've had a lot, they like come up to my legs and rub on me, or they like me to pet them, but I've never had a cat look directly at my face when I'm talking to it. It's so weird. He knows his name. Like other cats, I think they know their names too, but they don't care. He's so smart. Like, if he's in a room with me and I'm leaving and I turn off the light, all the other cats will just completely ignore that. They'll just sit where they're sitting, but he knows that if I turn off the light in the room, that means I'm leaving the room and he comes with me. Like, I've never seen that before. I've had so many dum-dums. He's a smart individual. He's a good boy. Especially Oliver, the exotic long hair. He He had low IQ. It's okay, he's got a pretty face. Alright, sorry, just a second. That's why I didn't want to do all the nails on stream, just because the sewing machine parts I feel like are boring. Because frankly, I just don't have a camera that's close enough to get all the details. Okay, I'm actually going to go over it one more time because that second stitch, I completely off track, like, in the words of Master Shifu, there is no level 0. Yeah, that's Oliver. Alright, if you had to rate your cat's smartness from level 0 to, like, level 10, Jasper would be, like, a solid, like, 8, probably. I mean, if we wanted to train him to do tricks, he could probably. He could be like a show cat. Man, he would be perfect. Like, in TV shows or something. Like, if he was a trained cat. Because you need smart animals for that. I would stick Oliver at, like, a level 2. And Minx at, like, a level 4. Ooh. Choking on fur. Oh, man. I just inhaled fur. That was so uncomfortable. Ugh. Mm-mm. Would not recommend. Don't do that. Yikes. Okay. That was not great. Let's not do that again. Okay. Here we are. Now, here is our little claw. And we're just gonna cut around the edges to free it. So, where's sewing scissors? Oh, accidentally dropping things in the trash. That's not good. Alright, now I need to lower the camera. Okay, here we go, here we go. So just kind of go around the edge here. I mean, you do want a seam allowance, but it doesn't have to be, like, gigantic. For the most part, it's pretty self-explanatory. Just be careful not to cut through any of your threads, or you're defeating the purpose of sewing it in the first place. Okay, and for the bottom here, you really cannot see it. I didn't trace this dark enough, but this pattern, this is where it shows. Where's my pencil? I'm gonna just redraw it. Oh, here it is, okay. So this is where you're gonna cut it off. Depending on what you want to do, you can either cut it directly on the line, or you can cut it with some seam allowance. I've been cutting it right on the line for this time. Okay. Every hand paw pattern is different, but frankly, for the most part, this is like the main steps that you do for almost all of them, in my experience. Your cat Pippi is kind of dumb, but then I bought him a food puzzle because he loves food. 3 puzzles later, he's a genius. Oh my gosh! A food puzzle for a cat, that's so smart. We should make our cats do that so they're less dumb. That's adorable. What color is that one? Alright, so since we cut through this minky here, I'm just kind of pulling some of the extra furs off, the loose furs. I just don't like them getting everywhere, you know? Okie doke. So let's right side this out. And you can either use that colored pencil that you had before to straighten it out, or like this wooden dowel that comes with a lot of stuffing boxes. A lot of bags of stuffing just come with this thing, I don't know. But I had a few. I think I threw one out because I just had too many. Alright, so make sure it's pushed all the way out. And I'm just gonna kind of knead it a little bit. Make sure all the edges are fully at the edge here. They're not, there's no other way to say it. They're just, the edges are fully, there you go. English. Alright, that's fine. You guys know what I'm saying, right? Right, let's move on. Okay, now we're gonna stuff this nail. And how much you stuff it, it can be really intense or it can be not that intense. I guess it just kind of really doesn't matter. But you don't stuff it too hard, otherwise you're gonna have a hard time sewing it. Keep your wooden dowels for your plants. Interesting. How will that, how will that help? He's a tab that leaves his tongue out all the time! I love cats that do that! Just, the cute little tonguey tongue. Oh my gosh. Cats are just amazing, okay? Okay, I got the majority of this in here. Stuff it. I mean, frankly, if you didn't get all the edges pushed out all the way, stuffing it like this will probably do the job, but I just like to double check as I'm going. Because I've seen fursuit paws that look really cute, but like, specifically with vinyl claws that weren't pushed out all the way, and it looks really bizarre. Okay, so basically I want it to be filled up to the point of where I'm going to sew it, which is about seam allowance-ish, about like right here. And so I do need to stuff it a little more, so I need to make sure I can sew it closed under the sewing machine. If you stuff it too much, you're going to have trouble sewing in the sewing machine. And then you're going to have trouble sewing it in the hand paw. So, I mean, you can stuff it tighter if you'd like. It's just that it might be making it harder on yourself than necessary. To help support taller plants. Oh, that's smart. I didn't even think about that. I guess I could use these dowels for that, because I had, like, a lot. I had too many. I didn't know what to do with them. Actually, it doesn't sound like me to throw them out. I bet that I just put them in. I have, like, a box of, like, awkward random craft materials. I bet they're in there. It doesn't sound like me to throw out something that could be useful. He has a severe overbite, so can't help leaving his tongue out. It's hilarious, though. That is super cute. Aww. Poor kitty, but he's so cute. He needs... I think every cat should have a warrior cat name. Okay, so we need to sew along the opening here. I know I'm holding the cloth sideways kind of, but this is the top. Sew along the opening without letting the stuffing escape. And this can be kind of hard with Minky because the Minky tries to get stuck in there. So, give me just a sec. So oddly enough, I actually like to start in the middle, right here, and then go to the edge. And I'll do that again one more time. I'll start in the middle and go to the other side. Once it's got like one full line going through it, it's less likely to get caught in the machine. So as soon as I get that first full line, I'm gonna go back and forth on it a few times for some durability. When I was younger, I used to want a cat solely so you could give it a warrior name. Aww! That is so cute. Okay. I just went back and forth a few times, but it's kind of hard to keep it straight going through that same line a few times. So if you need to like do one line and cut it off and then do another line and cut it off, you don't have to go like back and forth like I did, but you can if you want to. Okay. Nail. Oh my gosh, I've got this wonderful story, but it's not appropriate. Oh. Yeah, I probably shouldn't say that one on stream. basically, I was just trying to give my cat a warrior cat name, and it started out so innocent, and it just ended up being this awful name on accident, and oh man, dark times, man, I'll tell you. Okay, so I've got this stitch here. If you ever see me in person, I'll tell you the story. It's a good story. And make sure that it's stitched through on both sides. A little bit of stuffing is starting to come out in the middle, but that's okay. Just as long as it's not a ton of stuffing. Okay. His full name is Pipsqueak because we found him as a kitten. He couldn't meow. Too sick. Oh! So all he did was little short squeaks. He still does it sometimes. Oh! Oh, precious baby! Poor thing. That's so nice that you rescued him. Where'd he come from? Was he on a street? Alright, so let's get this claw in there. So, from the outside here, you can probably see exactly where we're gonna put this. Right in the hole. And, I mean, do you line it up at the top or the bottom? Well, we have discussed this. You actually want to line it up to the bottom piece so that every single claw is lined up to the bottom piece right here. I'm sorry, it's just black fur is so hard to show. So that they'll be the same height. Otherwise, you'll have claws all at different heights and it'll look silly. So, line it up to this bottom piece as close as you can, and that's where we're gonna put it. And this extra whole spot here, we're gonna sew together. It'll be all in one big thing. So, turning it inside out, stick the claw in there. Make sure the claw's not upside down, because I've done that before, where I've sewn it in and then the claw was upside down, because I'm dumb. He broken. Poor broken kitty. Cats are just like a gift, you know? Cats, they're just a miracle. I love them. They're adorable and they're stupid and they're just so fun. Okay, so the claw is facing inwards. It's going down in a hook this way. And here's the top of it coming out of this hole, so I'm just gonna tuck in as much of this fur as possible. Just pinch it really tight here. I mean, you probably could hand sew this. I mean, you could basically hand sew anything if you put your mind to it. But sticking this through a sewing machine is usually easier. And again, I like to start right in the middle of this one, just because if I start at the edge, it has potential to slide the claw out of position. So I like to start at the middle and go back and forth a few times, and then we'll check and make sure it's in position. So let me stitch this really quickly, and we'll look at it. We found him on a country road next to his dead mother. He was all alone and so sick. Oh, that is the most pitiful thing. He was the only one there? There was no other kittens? Okay. Well, I've stitched half of the claw in, so I'm going to do the other side and then I will put it under the camera. We'll see if I put it in a good position. Because before you do all those durability stitches, you want to double check and make sure that the claw is actually looking correct before you get it over your head. Okay. So here's the finger. We've got that stitch all the way down, and once you get to the end here of where that open gap was, you just kind of taper it off to the edge. Yeah, it's kind of just tapered off into nothing. So flip it back over, and it looks good. It's the right height. It's facing the right way. Pull back the fur and make sure you don't see any of the seam right here, because if you see the seam, then you need to do some. You need to try again. So I don't see the seam on mine. Of course, this is the one time I did it right. Hey, Figma! But if you do see the seam, that means you need to sew a little bit deeper in. So, sew over it again, but make the seam allowance a little bit lower down. And then that should grab more of the claw and hide that seam. But this one's actually good. And then when I'm done, if there's any like random like furs or something hanging out, I can chop it. Just make sure you're not accidentally cutting through some threads that are completely necessary. If you cut through some threads, I mean, again, that defeats the purpose of sewing in the first place. It'll just rip open. Okay, so I'm gonna durability stitch these, but I'll do it later. So I'm just gonna put a clip on here so I don't forget. Alright, next step. You rescue pretty much all your animals. They have kind of sad, traumatic backgrounds. Oh, baby! Okay, so we've got the back hand paw here with all the claws attached. And we've got the front of this hand paw here with all the paw pads attached. So, we need to... Well, I guess first we need to stuff the paw pads. Then, we need to sew these together. And then we attach the liner. So yeah, this is gonna be fun. Okay. So this part is not my favorite, but you know, it could be worse. You just gotta stuff it in there. And you just gotta make sure that it's the same amount of stuffed filledness as the other ones so that they all feel kind of the same. The problem is there's like no unit of measurement for stuffing unless you had some kind of like really, really light scale or something, I guess. But just going with what I have here, I've just gotta, I stuff it and then I squish it and then I squish the other ones. Try to make sure that they all feel kind of even. So that's pretty good. I would like it a bit more stuffed though. So the more you stuff it, the more that the front is gonna pop out. And it's a really cute look for sure. However, it doesn't matter really, but the more it's stuffed, the more you can feel that paw pad when you're wearing it. So it's not like it really matters, but just a side note there. If you have a really stuffed paw pad, you're gonna be able to feel where each one is on your finger. Okay. So when you're stuffing these, make sure you remember you're gonna need to have at least enough leeway to stitch this back closed after you stuff it up. So if it's so stuffed that it's stuck open like this and you can't pinch it, that's probably too full. Let me see the other side here. So once this black piece is sewn to the other side of the paw, it's gonna pull it back this way a little bit, and you can see how round that red piece looks. So that's really nice. Okay, so this feels pretty good. So I should stuff all the other ones too while I'm at it. We should stuff the squeaker one. Okay, the thing about the squeaker one is you kind of need a longer slit in there so you can actually fit the squeaker. I should have, this is something that I knew about before, but I didn't think about it till just now. I should have made this slit for the center paw pad kind of off center or something, because now when I put the squeaker in there, it's gonna try to, it might be harder to deal with since it's gonna be in the center of the paw pad. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me dig up my squeakers. Squeakies. Okay. I'm gonna need to get some more squeakers soon, I think. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but like, I go through these things like crazy. Okay. Oh. Well, my drawer's not closing, so I guess I'll deal with that later. You love that? Oh, thank you! Do you like the squeaky? It's so loud, it's peaking the microphone. It's not as loud when I have it, like, blocked by the fabric. Okay. So I got 2, obviously, because one for each paw pad. So that one I'll save for later, but this one will go in here. And you might notice, where am I going to fit this? Well, I've had center paws that are bigger, that you can fit it going straight up like this. Or you can turn it like this. Frankly, I've had no problem ever, no matter which direction I put it. So if I put it straight up, bending your hand paw, I've never had trouble with it. If you put it sideways, I mean, it doesn't matter, you can still hear it. I'm just gonna have them facing away from the thumb, because I think it'll be the loudest. Because if you're squeaking it like this, theoretically, you're blocking some of that sound with your thumb if you face it towards the thumb. So I'm just gonna face it this way. So much squeak, you're gonna be crazy annoying. Good. That's what squeakers are for. Oh man, the only time I was ever annoyed by, like, sounds, like squeakers or whatever, from furries was this one furry at, it was the last Anthrocon I was at. We were getting lined up for the, fursuit photo, and they had this, I don't know what it was, like a radio boombox, something like that, and it was repeating the same, like, 10-second music loop for, like, a half an hour, and I just wanted to die. It was awful, and it wasn't even good music. It was just the worst. But other than that, I mean, squeakers haven't annoyed me, or, like, those bird calls that some people use for making sounds, like, those are fine. Just that one guy with the boombox. I guess to each their own. Alright, so I'm trying to stuff around the squeaker to make sure it doesn't have any hollow bits. And I can feel right now that I need to stuff this a bit tighter. At least in these 2 side pieces. Glad I brought a lot of stuffing. Okie dokie. I think that looks better. So, it looks stuffed enough from this side, so let's go see the other side now. Whew! That's stuffed. I'm gonna pull back all this puffy fur, and we're just gonna look at the paw pad. And that looks really nice. It's really puffy. It feels stuffed. Well, this side could use a little bit more. This one's good. And you can feel the paw pad in there. You can feel the squeaker, I mean. Okay, so a tiny bit more on this side. So one thing about when you're setting the squeaker in, I've never accidentally done this, but I've seen it when I was working on it before, that if you don't put the paw pad, like if you don't, you want to kind of cradle the squeaker with stuffing. Because if you just put the squeaker directly towards the front of the hand paw, you can kind of make out the shape of the squeaker, and that's no good. I mean, depending on your material and your squeaker and the shape, you might not notice it, but I actually like to put like a thin layer of stuffing, then the squeaker, and then more stuffing on the back if it fits. This one looks like it's fine as it is. Like, I don't need more stuffing in the back, but there is stuffing a little bit, cradling it on the outside here. Let's see. I still didn't stuff this side. I need to stuff this one a little bit more. Yeah, the feet paws are gonna be same colors. I have all the fabrics and stuff, but I have to go get the foam from storage. That's why I have one cutout. I have the one bottom cutout, but I don't have the other one cut out because I ran out. So I'm sad. I wanted to get a jump on that, but it's fine. What I really need to do is, I need to do like both every day. Like if I was working on the hand paws and the feet paws, then after the stream I could just do a little bit more work on them, and then the next day when I stream, it wouldn't be like an astronomical difference. Like, the stuff I like to do in between streams is the monotonous stuff that isn't as interesting to watch. Like, this stuffing the paw pads does not take long, and it's like just a quick, easy, fun step. But like, sewing on each one of these, just on this one hand paw, sewing on the paw pads, I said earlier, it took me 2.5 hours, and that's not including machine sewing it either, which probably took about another half an hour. So, like, does anyone really want to just sit here watching me do this in a circle for an hour? But at the same time, you could also argue that everything I do is kind of repetitive, and you kind of just hang out with me to hang out with me and to do this stuff with me. So I'm at a loss. I don't know what anymore, if it's interesting to watch the more monotonous stuff, or if it's better to just kind of do stuff in between streams to keep the flow going. Because frankly, if I just kept doing it only on stream, it will take me 18 years. I mean, I'm currently clocking in at 62 hours on this fursuit off stream, and it's mostly for like foam work, like sewing this stuff that's like, who would want to watch that? But like, imagine me doing 62 hours on stream of just that. I don't know, food for thought. Something I think about sometimes. I just wonder. Okay. So this feels pretty good. This feels pretty good. So here's the deflated one. I didn't do these back 3, and these 2 I did do. I mean, it doesn't look like it's coming out much, but again, once you sew it on, this black piece will get peeled back, and you'll be able to see more of that rounded shape. So, wondering if I should just stitch these closed. Nah, I'll finish stuffing this. I wanna see what it really looks like. We gotta get to that point. This hole, sometimes I cut the holes a little bit too small, and I gotta make them a little bit bigger just so I can actually get the stuffing in there. There are different sizes of squeakers too. This one's like 1.5 inches about. There's like tiny ones, and then there's like big boy ones. Hey Blackbird, how you doing? That totally was not just talking about you, actually. Did Della send you here? I was just thinking serious deja vu, because when I was making your Handpaws black fur, it was like kind of the same colors, like the red and the black, and I was like, wow. This is so similar to something I've done before. It just felt weird. Not to mention somebody else way down in the queue also has red and black Handpaws. So like, I don't know, man. Red and black is just the color of the year, I guess. Yeah, it's just in the one big paw pad. If we put it in the little baby ones, I mean, theoretically it looks like it'll fit, but this little squeaker tip, I don't know where that would go. Also, it would be really annoying, probably. Oh my gosh, yours were red and black too? Oh my gosh, no wonder I felt such deja vu doing the red and black. Everybody has red and black Handpaws. What even? OMG, Aries? Yeah, actually, just making another Handpaws. Who'd have thought? Alright. These feel pretty good. This one might be a little overstuffed, but I'll squish them at the end and we'll see. We'll squish them together. Oh yeah, the slit on this one is not wide enough. Winchester, my beloved. It's like when somebody has, I mean, most furries call each other by their Fursona's name, but what if you have like 2 Fursonas? Which one do you choose? Like, do you just choose one, or do you have like a preference? I just always wondered that. I guess it would be different for every person, but I don't know what I would do. Good deal, you don't want to be overkill with squeakers. Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to do that either. That sounds uncomfortable. I'd have to have a whole bag of squeakers just for your Handpaws too, which would be really funny, but I'm sure somebody somewhere has done it. whichever one is more your main Sona you'd go by. I guess that makes sense. I've never, because I mean, I have characters, but I only have like one persona, so people who have two Sonas, I guess you still do really have to kind of choose one. You must call me by both of my personas' names every time. Alright. That one's good. Last Pawpad here. Today you learned you hate pixel art. I've never tried it, but... Oh, that's a lie. I have tried it when I was younger. It looks really, really, really hard. And I remember I couldn't make anything good. Pixel art, I kind of took Kami for art fight, but it's literally impossible. I have no idea how people do it. I mean, I have tried it, but it was so long ago, I just remember that I wasn't successful. I have no idea how people do that. Like, pixel art is completely different beast than your standard digital art. I have no idea. It's impressive, really. You could make it out of Minecraft blocks. Ooh, the stuffing's trying to blow away from the fan. It's so hot. I always have to have like 80 fans on. I miss winter. Blackfur is like ready to try the pixel art. You might live, maybe. You can try it. Let me know how it goes. Okie dokie. Got it here. So, let me go to the front side. I'll squish all these and see how they feel. I'm trying to just get the kind of same squish consistency, which you'll probably never hear again. What a weird term. Okay, they're all good except this one needs a little bit more. Oh, I just see that face. Oh, Figgy, you need to see, and his name is Onyx, and he's going to be a glow-in-the-dark UV. Yes! I love those! Those are so cool. Can I see? And then I love the little, evil smiley face down there. Alright, let me test this again. Oh, that's better. Much better. Okay, so here's the Pawpads when they're stuffed. And it looks almost exactly the same as when they were unstuffed. Now we've got to stitch these things closed. Which, I mean, fine. It's not the most fun thing, but at least it's not hard, okay? It's easy, and I like that. Okay, if you guys make pixel art, or any art really, I really want to see. Alright, next time we do like a drawing stream together, we can all do pixel art and then cry at how hard it is. Okay, so to stitch these closed, I mean, I've got a regular threaded needle with a knot on the end, same old deal. So start on the inside here, and force your way to the out. Don't pull it too tight or the knot will come out. And just do it one more time. And instead of pulling it all the way tight, you actually, oh, the knot came out. See, it's so easy to pull the knot through all the way. So because of that, we're going to start with a real knot right here at the end. I just keep missing. Okay. Okay. So we're going to put a knot here. So if we put a knot here, it won't slide out like it just kept doing to me 80 times. I just realized I should get a little closer, probably. Nah. Oh, yeah, I need to check my server more often, I think. Okay. So now we've got a knot there. It's gonna be exactly what you expect. We're just gonna zigzag between the two sides, inside out. Honestly, though, it doesn't even have to be inside out. That's the beauty of it being, this part being hidden on the inside of the paw. In fact, I might even do it the other way for the next ones, because it'll be way easier. Let's do that. Let's just go outside in. It's easier. It's not like we have to hide this stitch, you know? So I'm just gonna go around. As long as you guys can see this in the camera. Yes, you can. Nice. Alright. So pinch these together as much as you can, because they're going to want to pull apart, and that can break your thread really easily. So as you're pulling the stitches tight, make sure you have the fabric nice and loose over here by pushing them together. There we go. See, it's not that bad. It's just... I actually don't even know why I was complaining about this part. It's not even bad. It's, like, fine. Grabbing your drawing tablet right now. Good! I was trying to draw in my sketchbook the other day, and I was like, how does anyone do this? There's no, like, undo or rotate functions. Like, I can't, like, move the eyebrow to the left. It just sucks. I mean, it doesn't help that I was drawing with pen, but I just draw better with pen. Digital drawing is a little bit more forgiving. You just gotta get over the difficulty of using the tablet in the first place, because it's a little bit different, but totally worth it. I would never trade that in for the world. The ability to use a tablet to draw changed my life. My drawing life, that is. Okay, so we have stitched this all the way down. Wonderful. Now do it like 3 or 4 more times. So, I mean, you can hand sew everything here, but, like, heaven be with you if you want to stitch around, like, attach this Pawpads to this black, because since this is the part that comes loose all the time, that's, like, the one stitch you're gonna have to go around and around and around for durability. So, like, that's, like, one thing I would never want to have to hand sew. So, if you have the ability to use the machine, definitely do it on that part at the very least. The rest of this is alright. It's not really a problem. Cyrus went to grab their drawing tablet and never returned. Okay, so I am going to go over this multiple times in the future. I just kind of wanted to show you guys how I do it. So let's do one of the little baby Pawpads too. Oh, I forgot how to tie a knot apparently. Okay. So same deal, we're just gonna start at the edge here, and we're gonna make a knot at the very beginning so it doesn't slide out. So there's our loop, let's go through it, pull it tight, there we go. Good. So now we can just kind of do the same thing. Stitch around. And it will look very cool if you don't pull it tight, but you probably should be pulling it tight as you go. Because if you don't, and then you try to pull it tight all at the last bit, it will snap your thread, probably. I snap a lot of threads. Fear of snapping threads, is that a thing? Gone forever. No, not that I expected you to respond, I was just teasing you. Okay. Almost done. See, it doesn't take long at all, but the thing is, that's just for one go around. I mean, I want to stitch this multiple times to make sure, since I'm hand stitching it, to make sure it's strong enough. So, yeah, first time around, not that bad, but once you go through multiple times, it might take you a few minutes. Definitely another good thing to do while watching TV or something. So yeah, you might wonder, do you feel this when you're wearing it? Not really. That's the one caveat to stitching it this way with this gap. Like when you cut the slit in the middle and you have to sew it closed. If you have a really thin liner fabric, you might feel it, maybe. But it's not really annoying, and it gives me the ability to machine sew all the way around the Pawpads, so I think the trade-offs are worth it. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. So let's go up. And we're actually almost done for the day, believe it or not. I'm actually shocked that I've been going this long. It feels like a lot shorter. Maybe I'm getting better at streaming for long periods of time before getting tired. Okay, so here is the paw. Let's just pretend I finished stitching these closed and triple ultra stitching these ones. I'm gonna do it later, but I want to show you what the next step will be because I might do it off stream. Actually, likely I will do it off stream. So here's the back of this paw. They go together like this. But we can't sew it when it's right side out like this. So we're going to put the right sides in like this. So here's the thumb piece and then all the fingers lined up here. And this part is also kind of hard to sew. Basically, you just need to stitch this whole thing all the way around on this black fabric. And you kind of have to hand sew all the fingers. I mean, you might be able to clip it with clips and, like, get it to go in the sewing machine. But with the stuffing and stuff, it is so hard to get it in the machine. And you might be able to get it in the machine after you do that initial hand sew. So it's just like with the Pawpads where we hand stitched it all the way around, then we threw it in the sewing machine. So it's the same deal here. All these fingers you're going to have to hand sew all the way around, except these two parts right here, the wrist. For the most part, I'm able to get these sewn through the machine just by using clips to hold it in place, and then that's not a problem. It's when you get close to the paw pad up here when I have trouble getting around it. Put your right paw in, put your right paw out, put your right paw in, and shake it all over. Oh my gosh. Is there like a do they do that at the Fursuit dance or like Fursuit games or something? Someone should do that. Make us do the hokey pokey and like the Cupid shuffle and what's the other one? Cotton Eye Joe. All those in Fursuit. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. Okay, so to do this, I mean the wrist part is pretty simple. I would start with the wrist part. You just kind of tuck it all in and clip it into place. Basically what you'd expect. The finger part, it's a little harder because the nail is kind of in the way. Like you're trying to put it inside out and the nail is kind of pushing against the paw here. That's part of the problem why it's so hard to sew it through the sewing machine. So I like to start with finding the top center of this finger, finding the top center, which is right here. I mean, you can see the line where we were stitching it, and put these two pieces together and sew these pieces first. So the very top centers of each one of these fingers is what I sew first. Second, I sew in between the fingers. I'll find both sides of them, sew in between each finger, including the outside of this finger too. So on each side on the bottom of every finger. From there, you should be able to quickly and easily hand stitch around every finger. And once you've done that, you should theoretically be able to fight it through the machine. The problem is that the stuffing is very, very close to the edge here, so you might have trouble a bit, but I'm gonna make it work. I've made it work with much, much worse things. Much bigger things that probably shouldn't have fit in the sewing machine, but I made it work. I believe in you to do it. If you are trying this, whoever is watching. So that's the next step, and you sent that shaving clipper video. Oh! See, I looked on there, but I think it wasn't sent yet. But I did see your other ones that you sent me. They were really cute. Okay, I will check on there. Cotton Eye Joe and Fursuit Weavers at about 20 people dying of heat stroke. Honestly, though. But would it be worth it? Because I kind of think it might. Alright, so let's say you got this whole thing sewn inside out. Before you turn it right side out, you need to sew the liner. So I usually put the liner, I mean, you could attach it to this back side or this back side. Frankly, I always choose this side. So put it directly on there. Your fursuit pattern may or may not have come with a liner pattern. If not, you can just like assemble your whole pattern that looks like this and trace it onto a piece of paper and then use that as your liner pattern. So it's like the same exact shape as the paw once it's assembled. So then the same thing with the liner pattern, where, well, I mean, instead of sewing all the way around, you only need to sew at key points. And it's actually, I've tested this, it's actually worse if you sew all the way around. You want to just stitch some really strong key points. And by that I mean both sides of every finger at the bottom and the top center of every finger. And if you have really big fingers, like really big puffy fingers, you might want like 2 stitches or 3, like to hold it in place. It's kind of at your own discretion. And you're gonna want a few stitches just here, like maybe one here, one at the bottom, and one at the bottom of the thumb, and one down here. Yeah. And that will be enough. That'll be enough to hold the liner in place. So then when you turn it inside out, you grab from the inside of the liner, not the inside of the liner, but you grab from, well, you know, it's inside out. You right side it out, and then you'll have a full paw with the liner inside like this. And then we just gotta finish the paw by stuffing it and doing the rim, which, frankly, I'm gonna have to do next stream. So hopefully you guys followed along, and I'm going to have these completely assembled, and I'm gonna stitch on the liner. It'll be on here. I'm not gonna turn it inside out so I can show you guys what it looks like. But next stream I'll turn them inside out and we'll finish the paws. This pixel art is making me want to catapult into the sun. Della, you're so funny. Oh my gosh. The stuff that you guys say just is impressive. Oh yeah, one last thing. When you're making the liner, I use spandex or any kind of lycra or spandex. Lycra is just like the name brand of spandex. So you can get lycra brand or just spandex. Honestly, I mean, it's stretchy. It's kind of, I mean, it's workout material. It's good for this. And the one thing I will suggest, if you're using a sewing machine, get a stretch needle. Because I used to try using a regular ballpoint needle because I read that it would be fine. Okay, it's not focusing, but it says stretch. There. But it wasn't. As soon as I switched to stretch needles, never again did I snap another thread. Like, I went through this whole thing without snapping any threads. It was awesome. And the other note, when you're sewing stretchy materials, always use zigzags. So I just used a zigzag stitch and went all the way around. Frankly, I don't think you need to go through multiple times, but if you want to go through a few times, you could. The liner, I've never had trouble with it ripping, so. Twins. Okay. Yeah, well, that's the goal. That's what we did. What we did before, what we did today, what I will do in the future. So I'll see you guys next time, where we will turn these things inside out and stuff them and finish that edge to make them really professional looking. Yeah. All right. I guess that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. Sorry I feel like I talked so much, but I guess that's the point. I talk. Okay, I took a shower the other day and I forgot to use conditioner. My hair is so poofy, I don't know what to do with myself. First world problems. Anyways, thank you. Bye. I'll see you guys next time.